Back in 1954, Richard Reinke started his business on a family farm manufacturing structural components for farm and commercial buildings with a focus then on chicken houses and laminated rafters. By the late 1960s, Reinke introduced the electrogator center pivot irrigation system, and the company has been a staple in irrigation ever since. We recently sat down with the president of Reinke Incorporated to talk about how this company is continuing to push innovation in manufacturing and irrigation technology. All right, let's back up a little bit. Tell me as much, I guess, high level, the history of Reinke manufacturing.
Sure.
From day one, you guys have been serving this area, building in this area of the state, but serving now a worldwide audience.
Correct. Reinke Manufacturing is a family-held corporation, been that way since its inception. Richard Reinke founded the company back in the 50s. We started making our first irrigation systems in the late 1960s, and it's been our primary product since then. Once he figured out, he was the world's first to come out with electric drive, rubber tires, reversible pivot, those kinds of things. And so he was kind of the founder of a lot of what you see out in the field today. So started making in the 1960s, and just been kept building and getting better and doing that stuff for the last 50 years or so.
As you look at your time with the company, started in the late 1990s, but over the years, what have been some of the key things that have made Reinke stand out?
Well, we were the first to come out with GPS, and that's a big deal. So you can control your swing arm corners, you can control your end guns, all those developments with GPS, so that was a big one. We were also first to come out with the touchscreen main control panel, so that's another technology advancement that we came out with. And so obviously that's a big thing. So it makes it a lot easier for the grower to go up and just touch buttons on the main control panel so they can turn things on or off or whatever they're doing that particular day. So those are some of the things. When we're designing stuff, Bryce, the big thing that we always want to make sure we're paying attention to is it easier for the grower? They're getting bigger, they're going faster, they need to make things work easier for them. So that's one design criteria we always have is it easier for the grower? So that's a big thing for us. That's one of Richard's big things too, and so we continue to build on that. You got to make it common sense, make it easy, make it simple, and make it rugged. Those are the big design criteria that we use.
Humble beginnings.
Oh, yes.
But this has grown to become quite the manufacturing facility. Our camera guys, as we were pulling in here, said, wow, I think we made it.
Yes.
This is Reinke. This is a full-on manufacturing plant, though, and I think it would surprise some people that from day one you have stayed true to the mission of being here in this part of the state. I'm sure there's some efficiencies to moving operations to more of where an affordable workforce is, but why has the company chosen to remain here?
Well, this is home, one. We're family held, so this is where home is for the family. But it's also, I think it helps keep us to our roots. And so again, a lot of us are small town farm kids from Kansas and Nebraska, and that's a big thing for us. And so being here, it just keeps us in our roots versus being in a bigger city where you can kind of, certainly they do good work, but it keeps us understanding what ag is because, we're going to church and we're talking to farmers at different events, things like that. And it just helps us understand the use case and what they're kind of wanting. So I think that's a big reason why we're here.
Let's talk about how you manufacture these pivots that you ship now all across the world. You recently announced a $12 million investment in robotics in particular. How much of the process of building a pivot today is done robotically with robotic welders and the such?
Well, a lot of it is obviously with the pipe cell. All of our water pipe is robotically welded. It was robotically welded before, but it was a pipe cell that was put in 2007. Obviously, technology's changed, technology improved, and so we wanted to incorporate that, and so that's why we needed to come out with the new pipe cell. We also do a lot of our hooks and receivers robotically. A lot of our base beams are welded robotically. We have some assembly processes that are done automatically, and so there's a lot more of that. A lot of that has to do with one, you can go a little faster, you're a little bit more efficient, but you also got labor resources. Everybody, if you talk to anybody across the country, they're always saying trying to find enough people is always an issue. So what we try to do is we try to automate certain things. I've been asked this before, so when you put in a robot, are you displacing workers? Absolutely not. What we're doing is we're taking good employees and we're upskilling them into a better job. So what we'll do, like specifically on this new pipe cell, we will send them off to training so they understand how to run this robot, which actually then gets them into a better job. We weren't able to find enough individuals anyway, so all we're trying to do is we're trying to upskill them into a better job.